How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down part 1 of the Halloween 2023 event in Pokemon Go. Now with that being said, as always, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, if you do find it helpful, please make sure to smash that like button down below. It helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. With that being said, let's go in and get started. So first of all, this event is going to take place from October 19th to October 26th, 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. your local time. The bonuses are going to be as follows. We're going to get 2 times hatch candy, an increased chance of getting extra large candy from hatching if you're level 31 or higher. We're also going to get increased candy and extra large candy for nice, great, and excellent throws. Now in the past we would just get 2 times catch candy as this bonus, but I guess Niantic is trying to incentivize players to get better at those excellent throws, which I'm definitely all for. I think this is a really cool way to incorporate this bonus. Alright, now moving on, let's go over the Pokemon that are going to be debuting during this event. So we are going to have Graveyard, which evolves into Houndstone with 50 candy, and then we're also going to get the release of Shiny Phantom. You can find this Pokemon in the wild and through field research. Now speaking of which though, let's go over the wild encounters, and I'm going to go over some notable ones I think you guys should focus on. So let's run through the list right now. We got Ekans, Zubat, Alolan Meowth, Ghastly, Haunter, Spinarak, Misdreavus, Poochyena, Shuppet, Drifloon, Litwick, Phantump, and Sandygast, which is going to be the rare spawn during this event, but unfortunately it cannot be shiny. This Pokemon was released earlier this year, so it isn't really that common, but honestly, in terms of the overall meta, it's not something that you really need to focus on that hard. I would just, kind of wait until that shiny gets released, most likely sometime next year. Now, in terms of the overall meta relevance of Pokemon you want to focus on, Zubat is a pretty good Pokemon because of Golbat and Crobat's meta relevance in PvP. Another really good Pokemon is going to be Ghastly and Haunter, which evolves into Gengar. This is one of the best Pokemon. Actually, it is the best Ghost-type Pokemon when evolved into its Mega Evolution, which is also currently active during this event. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but it's a really, really good Pokemon to use. Gengar also has some play in the Ultra League. I don't know if it's as relevant anymore, but I use this Pokemon a lot. You're going to have to give it an exclusive moveset, but either way, this is going to be a great time to kind of farm some good PvP IVs for when you eventually do want to build one. Spinarak is another really good Pokemon that evolves into Ariados, which does have some nice play in the Great League. Drifloon is another really good Pokemon that I would recommend focusing on. It has some pretty good play in the Ultra League as an extra large Pokemon, and it also has some great play as a gym defender. And then finally, our last 2 Pokemon are going to be Litwick and Phantump. So Litwick evolves into Chandelure. This is a pretty good fire type and ghost type attacker in the raid meta, but honestly, there are better Pokemon out there, so you don't have to go crazy on getting yourself a Chandelure, but it can be shiny, and this, in my opinion, is one of the best shinies in the game. At least it's one of my favorites, so. And then we of course have Phantump, which is going to be the newly released shiny for this event. Trevenant is amazing in the Great League and the Ultra League, so absolutely a banger of a Pokemon to get good IV spreads on. Next up, let's talk about the Legendary and Mega Raids, and guys, it is really rare for us to have such an amazing lineup of raid Pokemon. If you have not been working on getting your Master Ball timed research done for the raids, this is going to be a fantastic time to actually get some extra raids in. So let's run through that list right now. So the first Pokemon I'm going to talk about is only going to be here for 2 days, so the first 2 days of the event, and that is going to be Guzzlord. After that, it is going to switch to Darkrai for the rest of the month. Now, Guzzlord is not the best raid attacker, but it does have some pretty good relevance in the PvP meta for Great League and Ultra League if you can trade with someone to get a better IV spread. Now, when it comes down to Guzzlord for PvP in the Great League, you actually have to trade down so it goes below 1500 CP. It's really hard to do that, or at least just to get an IV spread, so most likely you're going to be building it for the Ultra League if you do want to focus on this one. Next up, let's talk about Darkrai. So similar to Guzzlord, Darkrai has become a little bit less relevant in the Dark type category, but one of the biggest appeals to raiding this Pokemon is going to be the elusive shiny, because Darkrai cannot be traded. It's a mythical Pokemon, so this is actually the only way to get the shiny in game. Not to mention, Darkrai is still packing some heat too. We're waiting for the release of its signature move, Dark Void, which will no doubtably boost it up to one of the top spots again in the Dark type meta. We're not going to get that move this year though, unfortunately, so it'll be a great time to get some extra large candy, as this is pretty much the only time of the year that Darkrai is available. And if you get the shiny with pretty good IVs, well, you can just hold on to that one and then Elite TM it when Dark Void eventually gets released. Darkrai is also going to have a raid hour on October 25th, so Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. your local time. Make sure to go out there and do a few Darkrai raids. Next up, let's talk about Shadow Moltres, which is only going to be available over the weekend, and this Pokemon can also only be raided in person. But the good news is that it is doable with the right counters. I put together a full breakdown for this Pokemon last week, so you guys can check that out in the description down below. Link is going to be right there. Alright, moving on over to the next Pokemon, Mega Gengar. So this is going to be the best Ghost-type Mega in the game right now. It's also one of the best Poison-type Megas in the game, despite not actually having a Poison-type fast move. An amazing Mega to get. Definitely do not sleep on getting your energy for this Pokemon. Not to mention, having Mega Gengar active during this event with like primarily Ghost-type spawns is going to get you extra candy if you've already been working on a Gengar. For example, I have a Mega Gengar at level 3 already, so I'm pretty much set in terms of grinding out this event with max efficiency, but if you guys have not gotten your Mega Gengar to level 3, this is going to be a great time to get some extra energy from the raid battles and, start working towards that. Now, unfortunately, though, you will only have 2 days to grab this before it switches to Mega Bayonet for the rest of the month, so make sure to prioritize Mega Gengar during those first 2 days if you do want to get some extra energy. Next up, let's talk about the 7-kilometer eggs, and I rarely ever go over eggs, guys. Like, I almost never do because I feel like they're always a scam. Surprisingly though, we actually got some pretty good eggs. So we're gonna have Munchlax, Riolu, and Galarian Yamask, all Pokemon that can be shiny and all meta-relevant Pokemon in PvP as well as the raid/gym meta. Not to mention, Snorlax as a defender is still pretty good too. But yeah, all around, 7-kilometer eggs are looking really good for this event. And I literally, like, if you've been watching my videos for, I don't know, the past few years, I never say this about eggs. Like, eggs are like the worst thing about this game, and we actually have a good event egg pool. I'm kind of stoked about that. Now, following that, let's talk about the timed research. So we're gonna have a total of 3 timed research. I guess technically 4 if you want to include the ticketed one from earlier this month, but I'm just gonna go over the main 2 plus the paid research for this event specifically. So the Graveyard Research, sorry, still learning that pronunciation. This is going to be available until October 31st at 8 p.m. your local time. And as you can pretty much tell, this is going to be focused on that Pokemon specifically, so you're going to have some chances to get some Stardust along with some more spawns. It can't be shiny, so I don't really care that much about it this time around, but if you guys are going for that hundo, it's going to be a pretty good chance to get it from those field research. Alright, next up, let's talk about the Spirit Tomb research. This is, in my opinion, one of the better researches that we're going to be getting during this event. This research is also going to have the same ending date, so October 31st at 8 p.m. your local time, and this research is going to be focused on Spirit Tomb, a super rare Pokemon that is almost only released during October, and it can be shiny. This, in my opinion, is one of the rarest shinies to get in the game, so if you guys are able to get a shiny Spirit Tomb, that is going to be a huge flex. It's also a really nice blue shiny, so I would love to get it, but honestly, I just don't think my luck is that good. And then finally, we have the paid research for $5. This is going to give you the event-exclusive Ghost Pose for your avatar. You're also going to get a few encounters with Phantump as well, along with some other Pokemon. But in my opinion, like, you're paying $5 for the pose. Like, you can get Phantump in the wild and from field research. You don't have to really, buy this research. It's just if you want the pose. So if you like the pose, buy the research. If you don't care that much, then just skip it. Next up, let's talk about the special box bundles. And normally Niantic does not promote these before the event even starts. We kind of just get them randomly throughout the, course of the game. But in this specific scenario, we actually have 3 box bundles that are going to be coming into the game. Let's go over them right now. So bundle 1 is going to be 495 coins. You're going to get 3 remote raid passes, 1 star piece, and 1 lucky egg. So the value of this is 705 coins, meaning that you're going to get a benefit of 210 coins saved, which is pretty nice. All things considered, the 3 times remote raid passes is a pretty good deal right there, along with a star piece and a lucky egg. You're kind of getting some bonus raid passes, some bonus items, in addition to those remote raid passes if you want to focus on Darkrai, for example. So in my opinion, this box is actually not that bad. The next bundle is going to be 725 Pokecoins. You're going to get 10 premium raid passes, 2 star pieces, and 2 lucky eggs. The value is going to be 1360 Pokecoins, which means you're going to get 635 Pokecoins for free. Not like for free, but you guys get what I mean, like saved Pokecoins. And in my opinion, again, it's a pretty good deal. You're essentially getting 3 free premium raid passes, and the star pieces and lucky eggs are also just a cherry on top. So yeah, it's actually kind of nice. Again, like, we don't really get great bundles, but usually for Halloween, they're better than normal. I mean, they should be better than normal. They're not always better than normal. Now finally, let's go over the last bundle. This one is going to be focused more on incubators. So again, like, I rarely ever say this, but we actually have good eggs in the egg pool for this event, so maybe this is actually worth it this time around. This one is going to cost 1550 Pokecoins. You're going to get 10 super incubators, 5 regular incubators, and 2 incense. So the value is going to be 2,830 Pokecoins, which means you're going to save 1,280 Pokecoins. That's pretty good. So all around, depending on what you guys want to focus on, I think any of these bundles are actually a great buy in the shop. And again, I rarely ever say that, but yeah, these Halloween bundles, they're pretty good. We got 2 more things I want to go over before we start going over some additional tips and tricks. So the next thing is going to be PokeStop XXL or Jumbo Pokemon Showcases. I don't know how you guys are calling the XXL Pokemon, but essentially these are going to be the showcase Pokemon. They're never really the extra small, they're always the extra large. So from October 20th to October 22nd, we are going to have Shuppet and Bayonet, and then from October 23rd to October 25th, we are going to have Graveyard. So basically what you have to do is you just have to hold on to your extra large Pokemon for the ones that I just mentioned, and then if you go near a Pokestop, if it has a current showcase going on, just drop it in there. You can do up to 3 showcases per day, I believe. And then your Pokemon come back to you, and yeah, you get some pretty mid rewards, I'm not gonna lie. They were better when these first came out, but they've kind of nerfed them since. So I don't really care that much about showcases at the moment, but if you guys just want some extra items, that's a good way to get some. And finally, let's go over the Spotlight Hour that is also gonna take place during this event. So we're gonna have a double bonus kind of going on here, and that's gonna be on October 24th, Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. your local time. And the featured Pokemon is going to be Phantump with 2 times catch experience. And yeah, like we're actually gonna get Phantump after the shiny just got released. Like the timing of this is perfect. It's actually crazy that we're getting something this good. Normally when new shiny Pokemon get released into the game, they're typically more rare than other Pokemon, but I guess in this case we're gonna have a great chance to get that shiny Phantump. I'm gonna be playing this event for sure. You're also going to get additional candy, like I mentioned earlier, for any nice, great, or excellent throws landed. So you get the candy bonus, you get the XP bonus, and additionally on top of that, you also can benefit from the special trade evolution. So if you trade with somebody, for example, I would recommend trading 100 Phantump during this event. So if you catch 100 Phantump, trade them with a friend, you guys can both get some free evolutions, which is super easy XP. And then on top of that, if you have the storage space, you can also hold on to these Phantump until we get a 2 times Evolve experience Spotlight Hour in November, and then you can get even more experience. So yeah, this is all around an amazing Spotlight Hour, probably one of the best ones we've had in the entire year. Do not miss it. Make sure to put it on your calendar. And that's pretty much going to cover everything in regards to the event breakdown. There's a lot going on, so I do have some additional tips and tricks for you guys if you do want them. So let's run through those right now. Alright, so the first thing is going to be your active Mega Evolution. You're mostly going to have Ghost-type Pokemon in the wild. You're going to have some Bug types, some Poison types, but mostly Ghost-type Pokemon. So my top recommendation is going to be having Mega Gengar active while you're grinding during this event. Most of the good wild spawns are going to be Ghost types, right? Like Litwick, Trevenant, Drifloon, Ghastly. Now you don't have to use Gengar if you don't want to. There are some other really good Pokemon you can use depending on what you want to focus on. So for example, Mega Beedrill covers Poison and Bug types. Sable, I believe, covers Dark and Ghost types. Bayonet covers just Ghost types. So depending on if you have any of these at Mega Level 3, I would prioritize that one over the others for increased candy and extra large candy bonuses. But again, when it comes down to it, just even having the Mega Gengar is going to add up a lot, just considering that most of these Pokemon are already Ghost type. Now, it wouldn't be a Halloween event without candy bonuses, right? So of course, going into this event, you want to have a ton of Pineapple Berries, right? Because this event is featured around candy. So ideally, you should be Pineapple Berrying every single rare Pokemon you see in the wild or from research or whatever. And if you don't actually have that many Pineapple Berries, make sure that you are opening your gifts daily from friends to replenish your supply. Additionally, on top of that, Silver Pineapple Berries are also going to be a great commodity to have during this event, mainly for the legendary raids. So Guzzlord, Darkrai, Moltres are going to be the primary objective of using Silver Pineapple Berries on, but you could also use it on Pokemon like Sandygast just to get that extra candy, because it is kind of a rare Pokemon at the moment. Now, I already talked about this earlier, but I kind of want to touch on this a little bit more because we are going to have event exclusive eggs as 7-kilometer eggs, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't just be hatching 7-kilometer eggs. I would also recommend getting 12-kilometer eggs on top of that because of the candy bonus. In my opinion, we rarely ever get a combination of good hatch spawns plus good hatch bonuses, and this time we're going to get both. So yeah, like when it comes down to it, you typically get more candy from hatching higher kilometer eggs. So if you do a combination of 7-kilometer, 10-kilometer, 12-kilometer eggs in your hatching sprees, you can even add a star piece on there if you want to, because it does give you a lot of Stardust. For example, let's use Riolu here, which is going to evolve into Lucario, that also has a future Mega Evolution later down the line. this is going to be a great way to not only get candy for this Pokemon, but also extra large candy for that eventual Mega Evolution, which is probably going to be, actually, I'm almost positive it's going to be the #1 fighting type attacker in the game as a Mega Pokemon, so yeah, like, this is an amazing opportunity to just get candy on that thing alone, and there's only 2 other spawns from 7-kilometer eggs. I mean, there might be more that they just haven't mentioned, but if these are the only 3 spawns available, then that's actually phenomenal. And then from 12-kilometer eggs, you have a lot of really, really rare Pokemon as well that, you know, some of them are only hatch exclusive, so getting more candy on those Pokemon will be great if you want to build them for anything as well. I know for some of you guys out there, you don't have that many trainers in your local area, so I would highly recommend using Pokegenie to get the numbers that you need to beat these legendary raid bosses. You can also go ahead and use the campfire map in-game to search for raids before you even leave the house. I just recently started using this and it's so helpful. Like, I don't live near any gyms, so the closest one is about like 7 minutes away, and so normally when I would go out to do raids, like, I had no idea if there were going to be raids in that local area. Well, with Campfire, you can pretty much just search the entire area around you. Like, there's no limit on the radius. So you can check to see if there's going to be like a Guzzlord or a Darkrai or a Mega Gengar, whatever it is that you're hunting. And then when that Pokemon spawns, you can go there, host it through Pokegenie, and then you're pretty much good to go. And now the final tip I have for you guys is something that I already talked about earlier on in this video, but trade evolution. So Phantump and Haunter are both Pokemon that actually benefit from trade evolutions. If you want some easy experience, make sure to mirror trade these Pokemon with any of your friends. You can also trade Ghastly as well, but it's still going to cost you 25 candy to evolve it into Haunter. But the evolution will be free when evolved from Haunter to Gengar. So take advantage of those free trade evolutions and get a lot of easy experience, guys. It's literally like super easy experience. That being said though, that's pretty much everything I have for you guys in this one. If you're still looking for some more content, I'm going to recommend these 2 videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.